Ezra Martinez clutched his boarding pass, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. At 17, he'd never flown first class, never even left San Francisco. But today was different. Today he was chasing a dream. Or maybe, just maybe, he was chasing him. Ezra's sneakers squeaked on the polished floor of San Francisco International Airport as he navigated the bustling terminal. His backpack, stuffed with a sketchbook and a crumpled letter, bounced against his shoulders. The letter was from Julian Harper, his best friend, his confidant, and the boy who'd turned his world upside down with a single, reckless confession 2 weeks ago. "I love you, Ezra. I always have." Those words had sparked something wild and fragile in Ezra, something he wasn't sure he could name yet. But Julian was already in New York, chasing a scholarship at Juilliard, and Ezra was determined to bridge the 3,000 miles between them. He reached the gate, his dark eyes scanning the crowd. The first-class line was short, elite, and intimidating. Ezra, in his faded hoodie and ripped jeans, felt like an imposter. His mom had saved for months to buy this ticket, a graduation gift to visit Julian before college tore them apart. He handed his boarding pass to the gate agent, who raised an eyebrow. "Seat 1A?" she asked, her tone skeptical. "Sir, that seat's already been claimed." Ezra blinked, confusion knotting his stomach. "What? No, that's my seat. I have the ticket right here." The agent's fingers flew over her keyboard. Her lips pursed. "I'm sorry. There's been an error. You've been reassigned to economy. Please step aside." "Economy?" Ezra's voice cracked. "No, you don't understand. This is my seat. I paid for it. My mom." He stopped, heat rising in his cheeks. He wasn't about to beg in front of strangers. But before he could argue further, a man in a crisp suit brushed past him, flashing a boarding pass for 1A. The agent waved him through without a glance. Ezra's hands shook as he stepped back, the terminal spinning around him. This wasn't just about a seat. It was about Julian, about the promise he'd made to show up, to be brave. He was about to protest when a sharp voice cut through the air. "Everybody, stay where you are." A woman in a dark blazer flashed a badge, her presence commanding the gate. "FBI, this flight is grounded until further notice." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ezra froze, his boarding pass crumpling in his fist. The man in the suit, the one who'd taken his seat, bolted toward the jetway only to be tackled by 2 agents who appeared out of nowhere. Chaos erupted as passengers shouted. Phones lit up, and Ezra stood rooted, his heart racing for reasons he couldn't yet grasp. The terminal buzzed with tension as FBI agents swarmed the gate. Ezra's eyes darted to the man in the suit, now pinned to the floor, his face a mask of defiance. Overhead, the PA system crackled. "Flight 214 to New York is delayed indefinitely. Please remain calm." Ezra's phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from Julian. "You at the gate yet? I'm freaking out waiting for you." His fingers hovered over the screen. But what could he say? "Hey, my seat got stolen and now the FBI's here?" Instead, he typed, "Almost there. Hang tight." He hit send, his chest tight with guilt. A woman's voice pulled him back. "You, kid with the backpack." The FBI agent from earlier, her badge gleaming, pointed at him. "What's your name?" "Ezra Martinez," he stammered, his throat dry. "Is this about my seat?" Her eyes narrowed, sharp and assessing. "You were assigned 1A, correct?" "Yeah. But they said, 'Come with me.'" She didn't wait for a response, striding toward a small office near the gate. Ezra followed, his pulse hammering. Inside, the room was stark, with a metal table and a flickering fluorescent light. Another agent, a man with a buzz cut, was already there, scrolling through a tablet. "Ezra," the woman said, her tone softer but firm. "I'm Agent Reyes. This is Agent Cole. We need to know everything about how you got that ticket. Ezra's mind raced. My mom bought it. She saved up for months. It's for I'm going to see someone in New York. His voice faltered, Julian's face flashing in his mind. Those warm brown eyes, that crooked smile. Agent Reyes leaned forward. The man who took your seat? He's not who he says he is. That ticket was flagged in our system. We need to know if you're involved. Involved? Ezra's voice rose, panic creeping in. Involved in what? I just wanted to see my... He stopped, the word boyfriend catching in his throat. He'd never said it out loud before, not even to himself. Agent Cole raised an eyebrow. You're what? Ezra's face burned. My friend, Julian. He's in New York. That's all. Reyes exchanged a glance with Cole, then slid a photo across the table. It was the man in the suit, but older with a different name, Victor Lang. This man's been using stolen identities to board flights. Your ticket was purchased through a compromised account. We need to know how you got it. Ezra's stomach dropped. His mom had bought the ticket through a discount site, one she'd found online. It was a deal, he said, his voice small. She thought it was legit. Reyes nodded, her expression unreadable. Stay here. We're not done. As the door clicked shut, Ezra sank into the chair, his mind spiraling. Julian was waiting, and now he was tangled in something he didn't understand. He pulled out the crumpled letter from his backpack, Julian's handwriting jagged and urgent. I don't care what anyone says. I want you here. Ezra traced the words, his resolve hardening. Whatever this was, he wasn't giving up. Ezra sat alone in the sterile office, the hum of the airport muffled beyond the walls. His fingers tightened around Julian's letter, the paper worn from countless readings. He couldn't shake the image of the man in the suit, Victor Lang, being dragged away, his cold eyes locking onto Ezra's for a split second before he disappeared. The door swung open, and Agent Reyes returned, her face grim. We've got a problem, she said, dropping a file on the table. The account used to buy your ticket is linked to a network we've been tracking. Smugglers. Identity thieves. You're not under arrest, but you're not boarding that flight until we clear this up. Ezra's heart sank. But I didn't do anything. I just want to get to New York. Reyes studied him, her gaze softening slightly. I believe you, kid, but we need to be sure. Tell me about this friend of yours. Julian, right? Ezra hesitated, his pulse quickening. Talking about Julian felt like exposing a raw nerve. He's my best friend. He got a scholarship to Juilliard. I haven't seen him since he left 3 months ago. His voice cracked, betraying the ache he'd buried. Reyes nodded, jotting something down. And the ticket? Your mom didn't notice anything off about the purchase. Ezra shook his head. She just wanted to help me. She works double shifts at the hospital. She doesn't know about scams. Reyes sighed, rubbing her temples. All right, stay put. We're running your info now. As she left, Ezra's phone buzzed again. Another text from Julian. What's going on? You okay? Ezra's fingers trembled as he typed. Stuck at the airport. Something's wrong with my ticket. I'll figure it out. He hit send, then leaned back, staring at the ceiling. He pictured Julian in New York, waiting at JFK, his easy laugh replaced by worry. Ezra had promised he'd be there no matter what. Hours passed, the office feeling smaller with every tick of the clock. Ezra sketched in his notebook to calm his nerves, drawing Julian's face from memory. His sharp jawline, the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. The door opened again, and Agent Cole stepped in, his expression unreadable. We've got a lead, he said. The man who took your seat? He's part of a bigger operation. We think he was using your ticket to smuggle something onto the flight. You're clear, but we need your help. My help? Ezra's voice was barely a whisper. Cole nodded. You were supposed to be in 1A. Whatever he was carrying, it was meant to be in your possession. We need you to come with us to the plane. Ezra's stomach twisted. To do what? To identify anything that doesn't belong. You're the only one who knows what you packed. Ezra wanted to refuse, to run back to the safety of San Francisco, but Julian's letter burned in his pocket. He nodded, standing on shaky legs. Okay, let's do it. They led him through the terminal, past curious passengers and flashing cameras. The plane was still at the gate, cordoned off by agents. Inside, the first-class cabin was eerily quiet, the air thick with tension. Ezra's eyes landed on his seat, 1A, where a sleek black briefcase sat, unclaimed. That's not mine, he said immediately. Cole exchanged a glance with Reyes. You sure? Positive. I only brought my backpack. Reyes opened the briefcase, revealing a stack of passports, each with a different name but the same face. Victor Lang. Ezra's breath caught. This was bigger than he'd imagined. As Reyes cataloged the contents, Ezra's phone buzzed again. Julian's name lit up the screen, but this time it was a call. Ezra hesitated, then answered, his voice barely steady. Julian. Ezra. What the hell's going on? Julian's voice was frantic. I saw something on the news about your flight. Are you okay? I'm fine, Ezra lied, glancing at the agents. Just stuck. I'll explain when I see you. You better, Julian said, his tone softening. I miss you, man. Just get here. Ezra's throat tightened. I'm trying. I promise. He hung up, his resolve steeling. Whatever this briefcase held, whatever Victor Lang was planning, Ezra wasn't going to let it stop him from reaching Julian. The first-class cabin felt like a trap, the air heavy with the weight of secrets. Ezra stood by seat 1A, his backpack slung over one shoulder, as Agent Reyes photographed the briefcase's contents. The stack of passports was only the beginning. Beneath them were encrypted flash drives, each labeled with a code Ezra couldn't decipher. These are high value, Reyes muttered, more to herself than to Ezra. Lang's been moving data across borders for years. We've been after him for a long time. Ezra's eyes flicked to the window, where the San Francisco skyline shimmered in the distance. He should have been in the air by now, halfway to Julian. Instead, he was here, caught in a web he hadn't spun. What do you need me to do? He asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Reyes looked up, her gaze piercing. We need to know if Lang contacted you. Any emails, calls, anything unusual before you got to the airport. Ezra shook his head. Nothing. I didn't even know the guy existed until today. Cole, standing by the galley, crossed his arms. Then why was your ticket targeted? It's not random, kid. Someone wanted you in that seat. Ezra's mind raced. His mom had bought the ticket through a site called TravelCheap, one she'd found on a coupon forum. It had seemed like a steal, too good to be true. Now he realized it was the website, he said suddenly. My mom said it was some discount thing. Maybe that's how they got my info. Reyes nodded, scribbling a note. We'll look into it. For now, we need you to stay close. You're our only link to this. Ezra wanted to protest, to demand they let him go, but the weight of Julian's letter anchored him. He couldn't back out now, not when he was so close to seeing him. Fine, he said, but I need to get to New York. I promised someone. Reyes raised an eyebrow but didn't press. We'll get you there. Just help us first. They escorted him back to the terminal, where passengers were growing restless. The delay had stretched into hours, and rumors swirled. Terrorism, smuggling, a bomb. Ezra ignored the stares, his focus narrowing to one thing, Julian. He pulled out his sketchbook, flipping to a drawing of the two of them on a San Francisco beach, their hands almost touching. It was a moment from last summer, before Julian's confession, before everything changed. His phone buzzed again. A photo from Julian. Him standing outside JFK, holding a sign that read, "Welcome to New York, Ezra." His smile was wide, unguarded, and it hit Ezra like a punch. He typed a quick reply, "I'm coming. Don't give up on me." As he hit send, Agent Cole approached, holding a laptop. "We traced the ticket purchase," he said. "The site your mom used was a front. Lang's network has been hacking travel agencies, planting tickets to move their operatives. Your name was flagged because of your connection to Julian Harper." Ezra's blood ran cold. "Julian? What does he have to do with this?" Cole hesitated, then lowered his voice. "His scholarship is funded by a foundation we've been watching. We don't think Julian's involved, but someone in his circle might be." Ezra's world tilted. Julian involved in something criminal? It didn't make sense. Julian was the one who'd spent hours helping Ezra study, who'd dragged him to open mic nights, who'd whispered "I love you" under the stars. "You're wrong," Ezra said, his voice fierce. "Julian's not like that." "We're not saying he is," Cole replied. "But we need to talk to him, and you're going to help us." Ezra's fists clenched. He wanted to run, to call Julian and warn him, but Reyes was watching him closely. "What do you want me to do?" he asked, dreading the answer. "Get on the next flight," Reyes said. "We're clearing you to board. But when you land, you'll meet with our New York team. You'll tell Julian we need to speak with him. That's it." Ezra nodded, his throat tight. He didn't trust them, not completely, but this was his only way to Julian. As they led him back to the gate, the terminal buzzing with renewed energy, Ezra felt the weight of the moment. He wasn't just chasing a boy anymore, he was chasing the truth. The flight to New York was a blur. Ezra sat in economy this time, wedged between a snoring businessman and a crying toddler. His first-class dream was gone, but he barely noticed. His mind was on Julian, on the FBI's words, on the briefcase that had turned his life upside down. He stared out the window, the clouds glowing faintly in the dawn light. 5 hours ago, he'd been a nervous kid with a boarding pass and a crush. Now he was a pawn in an FBI investigation, tasked with pulling Julian into their net. The thought made his stomach churn. He pulled out Julian's letter again, rereading the final line. "You're the only one who gets me." Ezra wasn't sure he got himself anymore. When the plane landed at JFK, Ezra's heart raced. He followed the crowd through the terminal, scanning for Julian's face. There he was, near the baggage claim, holding that ridiculous sign. Julian Harper, 18, tall and lean, with a smile that could stop time. His eyes lit up when he saw Ezra, and for a moment everything else, the FBI, the briefcase, the fear, melted away. "Ezra," Julian called, weaving through the crowd. He dropped the sign and pulled Ezra into a hug, his arms strong and warm. Ezra buried his face in Julian's shoulder, breathing him in, the world steadying for the first time all day. "You made it," Julian said, pulling back to look at him. "What happened?" "I saw the news. The FBI." Ezra's throat tightened. He wanted to tell Julian everything, but Agent Reyes' warning echoed in his mind. "It's complicated," he said. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Julian frowned, his eyes searching Ezra's face. "Yeah, sure. My dorm's not far. Come on." They took the subway to Manhattan, the city a dizzying blur of lights and noise. Julian's dorm at Juilliard was small but cozy, filled with sheet music and posters of jazz legends. Ezra dropped his backpack, suddenly aware of how close they were, how easy it would be to reach out and, "Ezra," Julian said, his voice soft. "What's going on? You're freaking me out." Ezra took a deep breath, the weight of the truth pressing down. "The FBI, they think you're connected to something. The guy who stole my seat, he was smuggling stuff. They said your scholarship might be tied to it." Julian's face fell, his eyes wide with shock. What? That's insane. My scholarship's from the Ellison Foundation. They're legit. I've met the director. Ezra wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at him. They want to talk to you. They made me promise to bring you in. Julian stepped back, hurt flashing across his face. You're working with them? Ezra, I thought you came here for me. I did. Ezra's voice broke. I came because I love you, Julian. I've loved you since that night on the beach, and I'm scared. Okay? I don't know what's happening, but I can't lose you. The room went silent, the air thick with unspoken words. Julian's expression softened, and he stepped closer, his hand brushing Ezra's cheek. You're not losing me, he whispered. I love you too. Their lips met, tentative at first, then desperate. A kiss that held all the fear and hope they'd carried for months. Ezra's heart soared, even as the weight of the FBI's mission pressed down. When they pulled apart, Julian's eyes were fierce. I'm not involved in anything, he said. But if they want to talk, I'll talk. I'm not letting this ruin us. Ezra nodded, his resolve strengthening. Then we do this together. They left the dorm, heading for the FBI's New York field office. The city pulsed around them, vibrant and unforgiving. But Ezra felt anchored by Julian's hand in his. Whatever came next, they'd face it as one. The FBI field office was a fortress of glass and steel, its cold exterior a stark contrast to the warmth of Julian's dorm. Ezra and Julian sat in a conference room, flanked by agents Reyes and Cole, who'd flown in from San Francisco. A new agent, a woman named Patel, joined them, her laptop open to a dossier on the Ellison Foundation. Let's make this quick, Patel said, her voice clipped. Julian, your scholarship was funded through a shell company tied to Victor Lang's network. We need names, contacts, anything you know about the foundation. Julian's jaw tightened. I don't know anything. I applied, I auditioned, I got in. The director, Ms. Ellison, she's the one who called me. Reyes leaned forward. And you never suspected anything? No odd requests, no strange meetings. Julian shook his head, his hand finding Ezra's under the table. Nothing. I'm just a music student. Ezra squeezed his hand, his heart aching. He believed Julian, but the agent's skepticism was palpable. Patel slid a photo across the table, a woman in her 40s, polished and poised. This is Caroline Ellison. She's been funneling money through the foundation to Lang's operation. Did she ever contact you directly? Julian studied the photo, his brow furrowing. Yeah, once. She congratulated me at the scholarship ceremony. That's it. Cole's eyes narrowed. And you, Ezra? Anything you're not telling us? Ezra's pulse quickened. I told you everything. The ticket, the website, all of it. Patel typed something, then looked up. We're going to need you both to stay in New York until we verify this. Lang's network is bigger than we thought, and we can't risk you two getting caught in the crossfire. Ezra's stomach dropped. Stay in New York? He had school, his mom, a life back home. But Julian's hand in his was a lifeline, grounding him. Okay, he said, but we're not hiding. We didn't do anything wrong. Reyes nodded, a flicker of respect in her eyes. We'll protect you, but you need to be honest with us. Over the next week, Ezra and Julian became reluctant allies of the FBI. They stayed in a safe house in Brooklyn, a small apartment with creaky floors and a view of the skyline. Between interviews and surveillance, they stole moments together, cooking dinner, sharing stories, kissing under the stars on the rooftop. Ezra sketched Julian's hands, his laughter, his quiet moments, filling his notebook with their new reality. One night, as they sat on the fire escape, Julian turned to Ezra. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, he said, his voice low. You didn't sign up for any of it. Ezra smiled, his heart full. I signed up for you. That's enough. The breakthrough came on day 8. Patel burst into the safe house, her face alight. "We got her, Ellison. She's in custody and she's talking. Lang's network is crumbling." Ezra and Julian exhaled, relief washing over them. "Does that mean we're free?" Ezra asked. Patel nodded. "You're clear. But there's one more thing." She handed Ezra an envelope. Inside were 2 first-class tickets to San Francisco. "Courtesy of the Bureau. You earned it." Ezra looked at Julian, his eyes shining. "Come home with me," he said. "Just for a little while." Julian grinned, pulling him close. "Try and stop me." They boarded the flight together, hands intertwined, the weight of the past week lifting with every mile. As the plane soared over the country, Ezra realized the truth. Love wasn't just a moment on a beach or a letter in his pocket. It was this, facing the unknown, fighting for each other, and finding home in the chaos. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid to call it what it was.